Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodelers! We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host, Japheth. And I'm here with...
Jackie?
And... Peter! If you didn't notice, there's an R at the end of his name.
There is an R.
And so, we're here today to jump on the nostalgia train.
Choo-choo!
Choo-choo!
Yeah.
I love the nostalgia train. All aboard! Because this week we are going to talk about nostalgia as you are in the Disney park, and then some other nostalgia things that may trigger from those kind of memories of being in the Disney park. And this is a requested topic from Andy, right?
Yes.
I don't know his last name. We don't know. It's secret.
Yeah,
For
his privacy, we'll keep his name.
Secrets.
Andy. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. And not the Toy Story Andy, but the listener, Andy. We appreciate you listening, and we appreciate your suggestion, because I heard it, and I was like, yes, we're going to do this topic, because I love nostalgia, and it just triggers memories of, like, being in the park, and being in a nice, you know, like, the first thing about being at Disneyland, we'll just jump into it.
Yeah,
the first thing
Yeah.
about being at Disneyland is the cool weather for us.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so you go out there and it's like whenever it's like good weather in the spring, like for me here, like early in the morning, I'll be like, oh, this is like Disneyland weather. Yep. It's like I equate a certain temperature to like being at Disneyland.
It's true. There's a moment because, you know, growing up, we would do road trips, get in the car, drive to California.
Let's just say we are from a hot climate.
We've said we're from Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We've said Arizona. We're from Arizona.
Yes, so we're from Arizona, and it's warm here.
And so, like, whenever we drive, and usually we wouldn't get to California till, like, at night, usually. From what I
thought we
remember.
would go early in the morning.
It depends. Some trips we did like a 3 o'clock in the morning trip.
Yeah.
Other times we've left at like 9 o'clock in the morning and we get there in the afternoon or evening.
You guys probably did that. I grew up like Dad got us in the car at like 2 or 3 in the
Yeah.
morning, and we drove
Well.
and like we went straight to the park as soon as we got there.
As a parent of 2 young kids, I understand why they did that.
Shut up! Get down!
Quiet. Just the quiet ride as they sleep in the back of the car. Like, that is definitely...
And it beat the traffic too.
And you don't have to deal with traffic
And
as much.
And the motivation just to like keep driving.
Yeah.
Right there. But we'll get back on topic.
Okay, so, like I
The
was
cool
saying...
weather.
Yeah, so when it's that moment when you get into California, and usually we would stop by a grocery store if we needed to get, like, any, like, snack,
The free
milk,
snacks. Yeah.
stuff like that, and you just step out of the minivan and just the cool weather, and you're like, yes, I'm in California, I am on vacation, and I'm going to Disneyland.
So like for us, just the temperature
Oh, yeah.
is the nostalgia enough to where, like I said, I walk out my front door and I'm like, oh, it's California weather right now. Oh, I feel like I'm at Disneyland. You know, that crispness in the air, to where it's nice. So as we get there, we're getting through the gate. I have the most nostalgia thing for me is putting my ticket in and hearing that.
Yeah.
That just triggers like a flood of just excitement. I love that sound.
It's a sound that only Disney fans really know.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you know, you've met a Disney fan when, like, you know, they hear that noise and you see the head jerks, like, what?
It's just, you just know it's gonna be fun. And it's just great. So you guys have that same feeling when you hear that noise?
Yeah.
I hear it like with text messages. It's close, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
I've even, like, there's now, like, security systems with that sound now.
Oh man, that's just too much. I love it. And so you go in, you get your ticket. Do you guys have anything like in the plaza area before you go through the
I
tunnels?
think it's the Esplanade music.
Yes, I was gonna say that. The
Like-
overall music, like, before the park opens, you get into line and you're just like...
Well, you
hearing
get
the
surrounded
music.
by music from anywhere from Indiana Jones, Splash Mountain, I guess not Splash Mountain
Soaring.
anymore, but Soarin', Star Tours, like, you hear all that music, and it really is like, oh, I'm about to do these, I'm going to hear these things in the attraction, like, I'm going to be a part of this. So, like, total that walk up in the Esplanade as you're waiting to put your ticket in, like, hearing that music does get exciting. Like, I'm not a morning person, but man, I love going first thing in the morning. Nothing wakes me up more than standing in that line in
True.
Esplanade, listening to that music, going, we're going in, we're going in, we're going in, we're going in.
That's so true.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, so you got the train. Do you have any memories or anything that's like exciting seeing the train up there?
So hearing the train and they have the bell.
Ding, ding,
Ding, ding, ding, ding. Oh, love it. Brings me back. I'm like, Disney, I'm home.
For me, it's the announcer.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
attention, please. The Disneyland Limited now loading for a round trip around the Magic Kingdom.
Oh man, those are good ones.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's true. You hear it, and it's just like that voice is just so comforting.
Even though it's so, like, monotone,
it's the best.
it is. It's a great.
Mhm.
All right, so we're walking through the tunnels underneath the train tracks. Do you guys have any memories or anything you guys like about the attraction posters or anything? Or are you just like moving forward, just like, no, it's okay, we're going in?
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy looking at the attraction posters. I think that because every once in a while they'll put an updated one or a new one
Yes.
out there, and so it's kind of cool to see the new artwork.
But are you
So-
just more excited, just like, I gotta get through it,
It's
and then
kinda-
you just
Yeah.
like, let's see Main Street.
Let's
You
see
enter
the
Main
castle.
And you hear the Main Street music.
Mhm.
Again, you're going to hear a lot of, I listen to the music and that gives me the warm fuzzies. That's going to be a common
But like
theme with
our
me.
family,
True.
we were raised on Disney music, as if you heard from our collecting episode. Father Yoder collected all of the Disney
Secretly
music.
putting microphones.
Honestly, I can almost tie most of my, like, drive to know more about Disney from listening to those Disney park albums. Because, like, our dad got one from '92
I
that
remember
had
that.
Disneyland
It
and
was
Disney
in the
World.
magic shop, or it was right next to the
Yes.
magic shop, or it was a card shop. It was a sports memorabilia shop
Mhm.
before it was turned back to a magic shop.
Yeah.
And I remember Dad got the album there.
Yes, and so like I listened to that album so much. So like I loved the music on Main Street and all of it. Like all the music was just it was a part of me. It was just
It does transport you back to that time where Walt was there in the turn of the century, the 20th century. It gets you excited, like, oh, this is what it was like, you know?
It's almost like once you hear that music and once you walk in, you're like, outside world, what? Like,
Oh,
doesn't
totally.
exist.
Oh yeah, it does totally block everything out. Like you just went through like
you
a
don't
bubble.
think about that.
And it's just-
Absolutely,
Yeah.
That's the magic of Disneyland for sure.
Just get in there. So
I do have one negative caveat about the music on Main Street, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I do not like the fact that they added the music from Up to it. That takes me out a little bit, but
Oh.
yeah, they have the.
I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I missed that.
yeah.
They gotta evolve. They
I
gotta
know,
update.
but I just like the old time show tune music that they play. You know,
It's true. I always liked that aspect, especially when I worked at Disney World, and we'd have to be there for road drop, and you can hear the music, and it's
You
just.
got Hello Dolly, Oklahoma.
Oh, I love the Hello
and
Dolly.
all of
Oh,
that.
yes.
Okay, I'll stop humming. All right, so we're in there. We're in the plaza area. Is it the plaza area or the flagpole? Where's
Yeah.
the main? So, do you guys have
No,
anything?
it's Town Square.
Town Square, yes,
Town
Town Square. Anything in that Town Square area as
Oh.
we're walking through? It doesn't have to be necessarily in the
Smell
morning.
of popcorn.
Yeah, that's the first bit of popcorn
Because
you
there's a
smell.
popcorn stand
Right there.
right there by, was it City Hall?
Yeah, I think it's on that corner.
Yeah.
Because usually you have the character performers
On the other,
on the east
by
side.
Lincoln.
Yeah, by Lincoln. they pull you over there. Which we are not big character fans.
We weren't necessarily always drawn.
Not growing up, no.
No. We would
If we were, it would be like Mickey's house.
Mickey's house, like at night.
Yes.
The line was
Or
not bad.
if there wasn't like a huge line for a character, we would jump in.
Yeah, it would be like, it's like when you see Tarzan at like Animal Kingdom and there's nobody around, you're like, okay, Tarzan, I'll go visit
I'll
you.
be honest, one of the saddest sights I saw, and this happened when I was working at Disney World, was I was just, it was one of my relaxing days, and I was at the animation building, and there was this huge line for Mr. Incredible. Like, there was probably good, 10 people in line, and no one in line for Mrs. Incredible.
Oh.
I felt so bad, but I just sat there and watched. I watched for
visit.
20 minutes just to see her just kind of kick around, just walk around, and people see Mr. Incredible and then leave. And I'm like, wow, this is really sad, but someone
You
entertained
should have
me.
heckled her. That would have been the funniest thing. It's like, I lost another one. Start throwing popcorn on the ground. Oh man, yeah. So we don't do the characters. It's nice to see them. Like, oh,
Yes.
my friends. They're there, but you don't necessarily have to visit them.
I kind of like the way they do the characters now.
I love how they do the characters.
How do they do it now?
Where it's socially distanced, so you don't hug or meet and greet, but it's
They're
at
there.
a distance, and you can just pose at where the rope is, and then you move on. And there's
So they're
usually-
photobombing your pictures.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's nice. They're just part of enhancing the atmosphere.
I kind of like that aspect of it because it's this aura of we're just here in this area instead of okay, another line to meet this one character. It's just we're here and we're a part of the experience sort of thing.
Yeah, I always liked it when I worked at Magic Carpets of Aladdin and Jasmine or Aladdin would jump on the ride real quick and create a magical moment with
Or
someone.
Peter Pan would just be running around playing pranks on Captain Hook or something. That was always fun to see.
Yes.
So we're in Town Square. Anything else that you see there? Do you guys have any memories at Lincoln's place? I like going there in the afternoon and feeling nice.
It's
down
a
and
good afternoon location for sure.
cool down and just relax. And I kind of
Look
my
at the
memories
artwork.
looking at the artwork, and it kind of revamps you. Oh yeah, America, not America, America.
Yes.
There's an A in front of that one, and it kind of gets the patriotic juices going again. Of going, this is great, and you kind of get that feeling of Walt loved the idea of America, and it's just nice to get that kind of boost right there. And I always love that. It felt so regal, walking in there. There's always a nice aspect. Going into the old bank.
Yes.
And seeing the artwork and kind of that in between, and it's just it's a nice quiet place, being in a library
Yeah.
at Disneyland.
There is a sense of reverence in that theater.
Yes.
It's not the Fantasy Fair, theater show where you got all these kids yelling and screaming or whatnot. It's you walk in and you feel this sense of you need to be reverent.
Yes.
When you're in there and you're
It's quiet time. And
even as a young kid, it was it's quiet in here. I need to be quiet. Or I need to whisper.
Yeah, you
You
do
whisper.
whisper in
You
there.
do
It's the
whisper.
only place where you whisper in the park. Everyone else, you're ah!
I want a churro! Chimichanga!
All right, so we're walking down. We're walking down Main Street. You see the castle, and you get the warm and fuzzies. I like seeing the guys with balloons. We never get balloons, but
just so true.
they really add the feel of
the
it.
magic of
Yes.
the colors. It just brings it all in.
But for me, Main Street is more of a night place for me to really go visit.
I agree. For me, it's the horse-drawn carriage. Seeing the
Yeah.
horse.
Yeah.
Not so much the other vehicles, maybe the fire engine, but mostly the horse-drawn carriage.
I don't know, rolling your ankle in the tracks.
Yes.
Well, there are lawsuits related to that. No.
So, yeah, there's a lot of great points on Main Street. I think the last one I really have is just looking at the candy makers make the candy.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's it's like watching a masterpiece being created before your eyes, just watching them cut the the toffee up or making the carameled apples or,
I had that feeling in Critter Country.
Yes, at the other bakery.
At
I
the
love
bakery
that
and the Corcos.
I think it's easier to do it there
Yeah.
than on Main Street.
Dealing with
You're right.
like the initial excitement, because it is chaotic.
First thing in the morning, absolutely.
Just everyone's all over the place, but like...
Well, because everyone's excited to want to go on Space Mountain right away.
Yes. So we're down Main Street. I will take us to Adventureland.
Going left.
Going left, and we'll work our way around. So we enter in Adventureland. I love hearing the little like drums.
the drums, and I don't know, I know it's not true, but I always, with all the greenery, it feels cooler for me.
I never thought about like the temperature.
Well, there's a lot more shade. So
Yeah.
I can see that for sure.
We're supposed to go into like all concrete Tomorrowland.
Fantasyland.
Or even Frontierland. Frontierland's
Basically
pretty
everywhere.
open.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just cool. Like, you're walking across that bridge, and like it is kind of silly. Like you get this bridge, and then you like run into this building. So you're like, yes, I'm in Adventureland. Oh, there's the bathroom right there. To your right.
You walked right into the
And
bathroom.
look at the bathroom. So you gotta like do this turn, and yeah, you got like the old Aladdin restaurant, and you got a meet and greet. But like when you take that right, you are transported, and I love that feeling. Like I'm in another country kind of feel. And I love that, like, just the turn of a corner can just transport you. And that just gets me super excited. Any kind of memories with, like, Jungle Cruise or anything like that? Any kind of nostalgia?
One of my favorite memories is actually with you. And we were exiting out of Indiana Jones, and outside Indiana Jones, you're going right by Jungle Cruise, and it was dark out, and you shook like the trees.
Yeah, I remember this.
And you were like, I think you were like growling like a bear or something like that. And a boat came by, and they're like, "Watch out!" I don't even remember.
There's like something about unruly guests or
Yes.
like wild guests out there.
There were wild guests.
So yeah,
out there.
we were part. I did like trying to be part of the ride experience.
So every time I walk by, like, leaving Indiana Jones, and I'm walking by there, I'm like, I just want to, like, try to create that again, because it was just so fun.
Fun. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So it's good that you brought that up. I love the Indiana Jones store.
Oh,
Wait, you love Indiana Jones?
Let me tell you about
man.
that. I just love the big old barrels of, like, rubber snakes, and they would also sell the guns. They used to sell guns that
whips.
looked like guns. They used to sell whips. Boy, man, it was a different kind of Disneyland back in the day.
Yep.
Oh, it was just, you go in there and it was, they had like a box full of like rats
Yes.
and like insects and they sold like Indiana Jones toys. So it was just such a fun.
It was always a gift shop we always hit.
Oh yeah, that's the one. And then right next to it is my favorite place to get a snack. The
Bengal barbecue.
Bengal
Yeah.
barbecue. Oh man, don't get the Zulu. Too hot. Too hot for me. I'm a snowflake
It
when
is
it comes
hot.
to spicy. So.
Okay, it does.
But yeah, those just that food, that the
The
sauce.
smell. The
Smell.
smell brings you in. Like, you I think that's definitely the dominant smell of Adventureland is Bengal barbecue.
Not Dole Whip?
Well, Dole Whip only smells when you got your face in the Dole Whip.
Yeah, I don't really like. With the Dole Whips, like I don't have that kind of nostalgia for it in Disneyland. Like, it's not the food that I like gravitate towards. It's like it's a nice treat when it happens. Like, oh, look at that, that's nice, but it's not a must. And
Well, it's nice to grab some Dole Whip and watch the Tiki Room.
Yes.
Because
It
there's
is.
not many attractions where you can go in with food.
It's
So,
true.
That is a plus.
I think that is, like, my thing is, like, if I have a Dole Whip, I'm watching
The Tiki Room.
Room.
Yeah, I don't think we were at Disney World. We weren't letting people come in with food. So I was like,
Well, yours was a moving ride. Oh, for your Tiki,
Tiki Room?
You're right.
that'd be funny if there was Dole Whips on the Adventure Covers of Aladdin. Like, oh, the pineapple's burning my eyes. It's there.
Sorry. Brain fart. I forgot that you worked at the Tiki Room for a second.
Yeah, I worked in the. Yes, it's there. So yeah, I don't like the Dole Whips don't have that for me, like walking into Adventureland.
The Dole Whip thing kind of happened later on. That happened in the 2000s.
Where it just became this craze.
I think the mid 2000s is when like the Dole Whip thing really exploded.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't remember eating a Dole Whip prior to the 50th anniversary.
I think maybe it had like one or two, and it was like, okay,
It's pineapple ice cream, yeah. But it's become like this.
It's like In and Out for
Oh,
people.
yeah. Oh,
Like,
yes.
oh, In and Out's best burger ever, and you eat it, and you're like, it's a good burger.
It's a burger.
It's
Yeah.
a burger.
I know I'm probably gonna like ruffle some feathers with that statement right there, but just throwing out there, we were more of Mickey bar families.
We were.
Oh, yeah.
So we would get the
That
Mickey
was our
bar.
dessert.
So we'd walk by, we'd get the Mickey bar, and if it was frozen, it'd break your teeth.
Yeah.
And so
You'd have to
minute.
wait like 10 minutes.
And
for
then
to
it would
melt.
somehow get on your shirt.
Well, it always got on Mom's shirt, you know. But we'd always take a picture in front of the castle or wherever we were at, something
Yes.
iconic, with us biting into a Mickey bar on a stick. And so that's why when we do the movie reviews, I use how many like Mickey bars, because it's kind of iconic with our family more so than melted Dole Whips. So yes, we're in Tomorrowland.
No.
Not Tomorrowland. Adventureland. Sorry, going back. Adventureland, not Tomorrowland. So we're in Adventureland. Do you guys have any memories with like Indiana Jones?
Well, in terms of nostalgia, I mean, all I have is like I just have the memories of being in that queue when the ride first opened and not being able to get on the ride.
Oh.
But every time we got in line, we would get a little bit further before the ride would break down and they'd kick us all out. So
The nostalgia is a breakdown. So
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it pretty much is. Like, even to the point where, like, we were on the ride had started, and it broke down, and we had to get walked off the ride.
Yeah, it took us 2 or 3 times before we got on the ride.
Yeah, it took us a while.
We were, like, at the chamber where he was like, get back!
Holding the curtain, the door of sheets.
The
Yes.
door of sheets, yeah. It took him sit there for 30 minutes until they evacuated us.
Yeah.
No, I just love the ride. It's one of, like I said, it's probably the best queue.
Absolutely. It's a spectacular queue, so, like, it's a shame that you don't get a chance to.
As you run through 50% of it, just the
Yeah.
way they do it now, which I do enjoy, because I don't like standing in that
Sure,
long queue.
sure. But the thing is, like, they rush you to the part of the queue that's, like, not themed at all. And so it's kind of like, ugh, okay.
Yeah, but when you get someone to the person, like, you get behind somebody who's, like, really slow and taking it, and you're like, oh, it's like being behind someone that, you're like, I need to stay in this lane because I'm turning in 2 turns, but man, you were going really slow.
Right.
That's what it feels like with the way they set it up. Okay, so we are no longer Indiana Jones. Let's head towards New Orleans Squares.
Oh, that.
Oh, love it.
Yes.
Just, honestly, like, yeah, I get all the nostalgia on Main Street and Adventureland, but, like, honestly, it's not until I hit that Rivers of America, New Orleans section
yes.
that I'm like, I'm home.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like,
You
this
see,
is it.
Splash Mountain.
the Mark Twain, and I'm trying to think of the other.
The Columbia?
Columbia. Yeah.
Just seeing that going around the river, and you're just all like, and you hear the jazz music in the background, like, you're like, that's when I'm like, I'm home.
It really does feel
Like, that to
like
me,
you're
like,
in
if I had to pick
Disneyland.
one point where I felt like I'm at Disneyland, it's that point when I, like, in New Orleans Square portion of the Rivers
Like the rest of the
America.
world is not even there.
Yes.
You're not even thinking about anything back there.
Because normally, like, Main Street, I'm still thinking about, like, my day, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to accomplish, you know, formulating the plan. But by the time I've hit New Orleans Square, I'm already in the zone of, like, I'm at Disneyland.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
I have nostalgia of us sitting on that balcony
Yes.
eating lunch
Oh,
where
yes.
the suite is.
So, yeah, so, like, right now, above where the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is this suite that nobody ever gets to stay in anymore. But there used to be the Disney Gallery that was up there, and you could actually sit up on the balcony Now you can just see people throw beads from up there occasionally.
Yeah, they'll do like some like jazz show.
Mardi Gras
Mardi
thing
Gras
where they're
stuff.
throwing beads at the crowd. But we used to be able to sit up there, and that's where we'd eat our lunch.
Yeah, we would pack our lunches and we would eat up there. I would do anything.
So
to
how
sit
much
up
would you
there.
spend to eat lunch there?
Oh,
I'll throw a number out here. $500. Would you spend $500
see.
to be able to sit up there
One time?
one time?
Yeah.
You'd spend $500.
For memories, yeah.
Okay. I just was curious of like where you're going.
I have I'm a little bit more fiscal,
Conservative.
on this. I don't know. Like,
I'd spend $100.
I have the memories. I would probably say at most 100 would be the most I would ever want to spend on eating lunch on the balcony. Now, I will say...
Well, if I'm spending $500, I hope it's a really good lunch. Not
You brought it
Pringles
for
and a PB&J.
PB&J.
I will
and
say
some,
the
Planters nuts
Yes.
that we used to bring in.
the little dessert party we ate. You weren't there for
No, I
this.
wasn't there for this.
But we went to like this special event dessert party up on that balcony for viewing Fantasmic.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
That was amazing, and the food was delish.
I'm
But
glad
that'll
I'm
never
just
happen
hearing
again.
about this now, but
It was great. That was a very memorable trip too, because that's when we did our tour guide trip. It was.
Tell me more about this trip.
It was Gigi's birthday.
Yeah, tell me more about this, huh?
You missed out, man. You missed out. It was the best.
I was not even in country, so yeah, I missed out on that one.
That's
Okay.
even when we stayed at a Disneyland hotel.
That's
Okay.
right.
Oh, throw it in there. Ooh, birds too. Ooh.
Yeah, the Grand Californian.
Oh, never stayed at any of those resorts. Jealous. Okay, so we are now leaving this balcony because I'm a little bitter. And we are going to Pirates of the Caribbean. It's the water.
Yep.
Oh,
The scent of
absolutely.
that water.
Well, it's once you get inside
The
from the
doorway.
courtyard and you see the boats coming back
Yeah.
from their journey.
See the pirate treasure.
Yeah, the
and
pirate
little map
treasure,
of
and you
Tortuga
can just
and all
smell like the muskiness.
The,
Of,
the bromine.
that. The
Yeah.
bromine.
The
yes.
bromine.
Yes, Peter's brought this up. It's the chemical that they use
To
stabilize the water.
to clean the water. You know, it's like chlorine, but it's a little bit more stronger.
It's bro style.
Yep. Bromine.
Bro
man.
chlorine.
Bro.
Yes, that water. It's just for everybody. They just love it. I knew people that worked at Pirates of the Caribbean, and they love the smell. It's everything to them. For
and
me,
then the music as well.
the
but-
music's. I mean, yes. Getting on the ride itself, I love.
Actually, before you get on the ride, there
What
is
do you
one
got?
thing. So, like, when you're in the queue, if the queue is extended, so, like, sometimes the queue will go on the side of the building.
Yeah.
So, if you're lucky and it's like that and you go into the building, if you knock on one of the doors, you'll get a knockback from
Oh,
somebody
yeah,
else.
that's
kinda
always
fun.
fun.
So, sorry. go
No,
on.
that's true. That's a good point. Like, I totally forgot. You do the, and then like they'll do the dun 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 dun, dun and then they'll knock back. you
Yeah.
know. For me, getting on the ride, sitting in that puddle and getting your underwear wet. Oh, it's nothing like it. No, it's.
Wear your pants. No.
That's why I love pirates. You just take them off. Hello, Blue Bayou. No underpants. No. It's just that slowness and hearing the water, like
Oh, the quiet.
Before you get on the-
There's not so many. There's not a lot of attractions that have that like calming effect of just like you're easing into this attraction, this adventure,
Yeah.
and it's just so peaceful and calm.
And you hear the clanging of the plates from the Blue Bayou restaurant, but like you're always like,
Yes.
oh, I wonder what they're eating. Oh, $80 prime rib. That sounds
Right,
yummy.
right, yeah.
But like, there's this easiness, and then just hearing the banjo play really slow. Oh
Yes.
yeah.
It's always the
banjo. Oh, I
the
forgot
mystery of
about that.
who's playing the banjo, because you hear the banjo at the little shack where the guy is sitting there in his rocking chair, but It's like, who's playing the banjo?
He's inside.
His wife might be inside.
Why not?
His wife's the banjo player?
Yeah.
I was like, keep playing the song! We've got guests. We always have guests. Never stop playing.
Keep coming.
I put you on repeat for a reason. So yeah, you get on the ride. Do you guys have any kind of nostalgia with being on the ride? You know, the splashing during the fights.
It's when you go through the fog.
The fog.
The fog.
Yeah, and you like you try to blow like O's through it.
Pull the caterpillar right there.
Yes.
Who are you? For me, it's towards the end of the ride. It's it's the end of the ride, and hearing the clanking.
Oh, going uphill.
Going up the clink, 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 clink.
No, mine's before then.
So what do you got going on?
So right before that part, you're in the part where like the building's about to fall on you.
Did you get the fear that like if there's an earthquake, these like beams are gonna fall
Right.
down on you?
Like
Yeah.
these things are like swinging above your head and shaking, and you hear this noise. Obviously, it's a sound effect, but it's like, okay, this is not the best place to be right this
Or you
second.
get stuck.
So you're like leaning to one side of the boat. You know, like, sorry, Jackie, if it comes swinging, it's going for you first. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the part I always remember.
I was wondering if one of you guys had that same kind of fear. I had that.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned my other fears of earthquakes at Disney.
Yes.
The Maliboomer and then the carousel. Or
Yeah.
the carousel, the
Yes.
Ferris wheel, yeah. All right, do you have any sort of, like, mentioned the clinging going up, do you have anything going to, like, the treasure, or the pirate store?
Oh, yes.
So what do you...
It was
Pieces
like-
of 8.
Pieces of it, yes.
Yeah, so
Yes,
you go in the
for sure.
pirate store, and as a kid, I just loved going in with, like, the chest with all, like, the rocks.
fake jewels,
The fake
the
jewels
rocks.
and the rocks.
Sticking your fingers in there, now you as an adult, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so gross!
Right. Exactly.
This one kid sticks it in his mouth, and you're like, oh no!
I touched that. I put my face in there.
And you're like, treasure! You're like, oh gosh. Yeah, as an adult, you don't look at things the same, especially after you worked at the park, you're like, don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything. Like I remember seeing the transformation of them selling guns. And
Yeah,
like,
the-
and
the
that's how you knew that the
Redwood.
time changed as you enter that store and you see the types of guns that changed. They had like the long guns.
Yeah.
They were
And
made out
then-
of wood, they're brown, and there were no orange caps.
Yeah, and then the orange caps came on.
And then 9/11
Then they
happened.
turned green or orange.
Green and orange, because 9/11 they were like, no, we want anything looking like a real gun.
Correct.
And then they got rid of them.
Then they're gone.
And they got plastic guns that are just,
That look.
Well, they don't even sell anything
They don't
gun-related.
yeah. So it's changed in that way. And the pirate store kind of lost its feel as you grow up. But as a kid, it's just like, you can't help as an adult, like, oh, it's a pirate store, I have to go in. And you're like, I'm going to look at the treasure box, but I'm going to touch the treasure box. So yeah, that's a lot of fun.
I like how that store breaks up and there's like a little courtyard in between.
Mm-hmm.
The Haunted Mansion.
two.
Yeah.
And I always felt weird because you could bring like an item that you want to purchase between both, and you feel like you're stealing it almost.
I'm still on property. Yeah, I like that little courtyard area. I don't have any other kind of memories or kind of nostalgia in that area. Do you have anything like in the back stores area, as if you're like
Well,
the
the Court of Angels.
the Court of Angels?
Well, and the castle, or isn't the crystal shop?
The Crystal Shop?
The
Yeah.
shop that like everyone gives you looks when you walk in wearing a backpack.
Oh,
You get
gosh.
the death stares. If you walk in with a backpack, you get these like death stares.
And we
of,
always
like,
had a backpack.
watch yourself.
Because we're carrying our water, our food.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were a one meal like family in the park.
Yep.
And so you backpacked everything in.
And so like sure, I've got nostalgia for the death stares from the workers. Like, do not swing or turn at all because it's a small shop.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's happened.
I don't remember going in because I was like, I can't trust myself.
Right. Like
Even
I
as an
probably
adult, I'm
didn't.
like, nope.
I think it's a pin shop now, actually. I don't think it's the Crystal
No,
Shop
I think it's a
anymore.
Pandora shop.
I think
Oh,
I
is that
remember
what
being
it
a
is?
Pandora shop. That's
Okay.
the last time I was there. Yeah, so I always liked it. I thought it was like a well-themed area, but we didn't have a lot going on in there.
We would either get there to get on like the train.
Yes, I did enjoy that bathroom.
It's a good bathroom.
It's a good
great
bathroom.
Um,
We could rank the different bathrooms.
Honestly.
Hey, that's a future
That's
episode.
gonna be a future episode.
Which bathrooms are the best ones? The worst one's probably on Main Street. By Mr. Lincoln. By Mr. Lincoln.
I like that one. It's Tomorrowland I don't like, but okay, let's move on.
I will say this. There's one thing, like, I'm not a foodie, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a big foodie, but I will tell you this. I've fallen in love with the beignets
Uh-huh.
that they sell right there at the Mint Julep bar.
Oh yeah, I love getting
So
like
good.
a beignet with hot chocolate. You dip it in there, or a mint julep on a hot day.
Jack is going, boy, you're...
She's excited about her food episode
I'm
coming
a foodie. Let's be honest.
I don't have any of those, no.
Well, I mean, that's
I
relatively
do like the
new
soup
for me.
bowl. I like
so.
the soup bowls.
Oh,
like, I
yeah,
would get
yeah,
that
yeah.
at night. Yeah, it's like, when you're in that part of the park, if I'm going to eat something at night, and I don't want to deal with the restaurants, I get a soup bowl.
There you
and
go.
you can just chow down on that sourdough bread, and, like, you're full. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's, to fill your stomach up, that's the best bang for your buck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you're guaranteed to be full. You're not going to leave that going, I'm hungry.
Yeah. And then I think we all have, like, the same kind of, like, nostalgia when we're at the train station there to hear the... Because Peter's made it infamous.
I have. It's, yeah. If you want to know more about that, go to our Secrets of Disneyland
Yeah,
episode.
Disney Secrets, which is a popular one.
Yeah, a lot of people like that one.
But yeah, that's, for me, I hear it, and it just brings me joy hearing the story of Peter, like, telling people, you know, what it is. And so we're at the train station. We can either get on or we can go to Haunted Mansion. Do we have any memories at the Haunted Mansion?
It's the Haunted Mansion. It's great.
Yeah, I don't really have any kind of nostalgia. Like,
No.
I have memories there, but you know, I have a lot of memories of working. Nostalgia would be more of like a Disney World
Sure.
than it is for Disneyland. I did enjoy like looking at the headstones.
Sure, yeah, that's fun. The puns and things like that. Which you can learn more about that from our Windows on Main Street episode.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about that.
With Z.
Yes, with Z. No, X.
Yeah, X.
X.
Sorry, I'm thinking Zero.
I would say, for me, I really enjoy, during the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, seeing the new gingerbread house. Because every year they change it. Every year since they've...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, every year that they've done the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, they've changed the gingerbread house in the ballroom scene.
How cool.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So, like...
That's a Disney secret.
Secrets! So, like, just to see the different ones that they've made. Like, I remember for their anniversary, the Haunted Mansion anniversary, they actually did a Haunted Mansion gingerbread house, a giant one, which was really cool. So...
Alright, so we're going to go to Critter Country.
Yep.
I mentioned we like going to the bakery
The
there.
bakery is always a must.
But-
Love it. It's home.
We do like picking up like hats from
It's
trying on
definitely-
hats there.
Yes.
That's what we try on our silly hats.
Yes.
At the
Take
location.
pictures.
Take pictures. Like, I'm not buying this hat, but I took a picture.
I will say that candy shop is definitely the more tame and quiet one.
It's the place
It's
to
not
go.
as crazy as the Main Street
Yeah,
one
if you
is.
want treats, I mean, all the same.
The line
treats
is not
are
as
there.
long.
And we get the goofy, like the sugar
The-
assorted flavored balls.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, and then we would get also the taffy.
The toffee.
The yeah. Toffee, not taffy.
Yes.
Toffee. That with the little like crushed nuts on there.
Yes.
Because you can't get that at Disney World, and you couldn't get the assorted flavoring of the Goofy candy at Disney World as well. They only sold the red ones, which are like, it's nice, but I like the different taste of sugar. I like the yellow.
This orange sugar tastes better than the red sugar.
Yes, it's like M&M's. Like brown ones taste better because they're closer to chocolate. It's a little shout out to what is it? The wedding planner.
Oh yeah.
So, do you guys have anything with Splash Mountain? And like, I love hearing the screams and the whoosh of the water going up.
There's a really cool spot that it's kind of like this hidden path almost that kind of goes out over. There's the bridge that everyone usually, but there's also another like small little path to the side that actually looks down to where the guests are coming out.
You're doing the elbow turn back.
Yes,
to the
doing
right.
the elbow turn back, and so just to see like the laughter, because you know you hear the screams come down, but then you hear the laughter of like, oh, what did you get? I got so.
Yeah.
My leg
Not
is-
me, and it's like, duh, you're in the 6th seat. All right, get out of here, kid.
You're in the dry chair.
Duh.
So like yeah, just to see the excitement in people's faces after the big splashdown, because again that's one of those attractions where you always see the smiles afterward of like, oh my god.
Unless they like slip and like they hurt their ankle as they're trying to go up the steps to see their picture. Oh, the getting your pictures.
Oh,
Like
yes.
oh, like everyone's got.
the
Like
anticipation.
rushing
You're
to go
rushing,
to the
oh, what am I
picture,
picture?
and
Where
you're
we at?
trying to find it out
Oh
of
yeah.
like the
Oh my
6
goodness! Look
rings.
at you! Oh, you look ridiculous.
The best is when other people comment on your own.
Oh, that's
That's
the
my
best.
favorite. So
Because
that
we
was-
pose,
Oh, yeah.
obviously.
Yes,
We're
post
ridiculous.
this.
So when I was in Disney World and I was just by myself and I was on Splash Mountain and I just like posed like crazy in the back and I was in front of this family and they're all taking this nice, you know, simple picture and I'm just like have this crazy like I'm being mutated and the kids are like, that is the best picture, and the guy's like, well now I have to buy it.
We have one of those pictures where we're posing. It's the lightsaber one.
Yes.
Where we get the mini lightsabers, and there's this like deadpan old man sitting in the back. He's like, he's even wearing. He looks like he's Indiana Jones, like 90 years old, and he's just sitting there, just like stoic, grumpy, and we're like, "Ooh, we've got our little lightsabers," and
Yeah.
he's just like, "I'm riding Splash Mountain alone."
See,
Oh.
now it's my turn to be bitter because I wasn't there for that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be bitter about that.
Keep an eye on Instagram for that photo.
But that's yes, having other people or have other people take pictures of your
Yes.
vlog with their
Yes.
camera, going like, "These people are silly." That is the biggest and best compliment to get.
Yes,
As
and
a
that usually
Disney
happens,
adult,
and that happens
yeah.
on all the photo attractions, whether it be Space Mountain.
Mhm.
I had that happen a few times where somebody took a picture of my picture on. Is when I did what Dad would do, and he would like
The
reach
claws.
the reach
Oh,
to the
the
person in
reach.
front.
I love that.
People love that one, or our Tower of Terror picture,
Yeah.
where I turn into
Dumbo.
Dumbo.
I love that one.
Yeah, that was a great photo.
Yeah.
So yeah, those.
I'll post these on Instagram. These are great photos.
Yes, that's good memories of like running to see the picture. 'Cause,
Yes.
like I'm not gonna buy this, but we did buy these pictures, especially with the photo pastilles where you can just save them, and they're treasured moments. They're our family photos. We don't have very many.
Yeah,
but
we
these
don't
are the
do
ones.
the Christmas card. We do
No.
Splash Mountain pictures.
Splash Mountain or
Yes.
Space Mountain?
We don't
Usually
go to-
Splash. Mom will write Splash. They
Yes.
won't write Space as much anymore. Yeah, so that's probably the most nostalgic point for us
Pictures,
there.
yes.
Pictures right there and the excitement that comes from it. Anything with Winnie the Pooh
No.
or the
I like going through the Winnie the Pooh at night.
Winnie the Pooh at night's good.
I like the queue at night. It's kind of like
Hear the buzz.
very peaceful. It's not very busy, you know, and it's just you just walk in and it's a very
It's a
soothing
it's a
ride.
quiet spot. It's like being
Yes.
by Thunder Mountain
Yeah.
as you transfer over to Fantasyland.
yeah.
Okay, so we're moving away. We're walking away. We're going to Frontierland. We do the loop all the way back.
You don't want to do Star Wars Land?
No.
It's too
Too new?
Too new. It's hard to have some nostalgia with that. And plus, I've never been there, so we're gonna bypass that. You can't-
All right.
It doesn't exist because I haven't been there yet. Well, Tom Sawyer's Island, we're there. Do you have any kind of memories with the canoes or like anything? I don't.
I remember
enjoy
getting
the canoes
so
on the raft over to Tom Sawyer.
back before it was Pirate's Lair. I remember Tom Sawyer's Island. I remember the cave to go into was Injun Joe's cave.
Yeah.
And I could never find it. Like we would go up and run off, and I could never find the cave. I would find the dumb caves, the ones that are impossible to crawl through, but like I could never find like the cool one.
Yeah,
you know,
the
one.
I do like
it was frustrating.
The bridge. The
bridge.
barrel
Oh,
bridges are fun
yes.
as a kid because you're jumping on it.
I just loved it because I would go, Mom would be on there, and then I'd go and jump, and she'd be like, ah!
Yeah, that's probably the barrel bridges. Those are probably the most fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also going to the fort and
Yes.
going to the gun
The
turrets.
guns, yeah.
If you want to know why those gun turrets are no longer there, listen to our Disney
People versus
Disneyland. You'll
Our
learn
law
more.
episode.
Yes, and so I have fond memories getting up there, and it used to make sound effects,
Yes.
and you would be up there with me, and we're like, oh, you got that corner, I've got this corner, you know. Yes.
I would make it a point to try to shoot the riverboat.
The riverboat.
Yeah.
That's good of you.
Yep.
Get those settlers. We don't need them.
We don't.
there. You were a friend with Chief Waves a lot.
That's right. That's right.
You're with the First Nation people. I love it. Okay. Any other kind of memories there and Tom Sawyer?
I do remember the tilting rock until that went away.
Yeah, I remember the spinning stuff, but I didn't really enjoy it because out of fear of like getting hurt or anything
Right.
like that. And I'm
But
not
that,
really.
that was one of those special places at Disneyland where like you could get hurt.
And that was the goal of it. Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
It's where they get hurt now, and you're like, why or how did you do that?
Were you trying to hurt yourself?
All right, so we're in Frontierland now.
Yes.
I love the shooting range. Hearing the gunfire and the different sound effects that comes from the shooting range. It's a must for me. I have to go every time. I'm good at shooting. Besides the shooting arcade thing.
Yes.
My favorite thing is to hear people going, this gun's broken, and then getting coins and going in right after them as they're in the next gun over, and I'm just like nailing every target, and I go really quick. I'm like, I'm not Annie Oakley, you know, just I'm like, well, it works for me, and I put it down. I love making people feel bad that they don't know how to shoot.
Right.
Like, but the sound effects, I just like playing the different games and shooting the wagon train. You
Yes.
know, that like
Knocking
hitting
them all.
knocking them all down. That's fun. And getting a chimichanga,
Mickey Pretzel.
Mickey Pretzel there.
Yep.
There's certain things you just get.
My wife likes the fish and chips you get at the
Oh, yeah.
Westward Ho next to the Golden Horseshoe.
Yep. What are you talking about? Do you guys have any memories as we're there in Frontierland with Fantasmic?
Plenty. Oh my gosh.
Like, is there something that's like very nostalgic where you're just like,
Well, obviously, like, I always remember, like, that anticipation of waiting for the show. Because it's not like it is at Disney World where, like, it's an amphitheater and every seat's a good seat.
yeah,
Especially
no,
the far
right.
left. Especially the far left where you can see a bag being thrown on top of Ariel.
That's the best.
But, like, Disneyland's was, like, almost like a cutthroat situation where, like, you had to be there hours beforehand.
Yes.
I remember waiting like 3 or 4 hours on a blanket.
Yeah.
You're just like rotating butt cheeks as you roll.
Yeah.
And, like,
So, like, we would rotate
You
people.
bring food from Bengal Barbecue, or
We would rotate people. It was usually Dad, but, like, usually we would be like, okay, it's your turn while we go ride this ride, and then you would switch off. And
Yes.
I think, the memories of waiting for those and having
Even,
people go like,
like,
oh, is
for
this
the
spot? Like, oh,
fireworks
can I hit
show?
that? And you're like, oh, it's
No.
occupied. No, like, and you're like all sprawled out, like, of a murder scene. Like, sorry, it's full. Can't come in.
I think that's in general, like, even for, like, the fireworks show, it's just, like, waiting. Like, if you reserve a park bench for a fireworks show, too.
Yeah, I got fond memory. We waited one time, and that was a good time.
Yeah.
That was. We never really wait for the fireworks show, but Fantasmic was the one I remember us like waiting by the
Oh, yeah.
river for hours.
Which was interesting, because, like, we went, like, years where we, like, watched it every single time, and then we went, like, years without even acknowledging it.
Yeah.
No,
And
it's
that
going,
was-
go to Splash.
Right.
Go to the pond.
Yeah.
I
Right.
was like, we gotta get out of here before this. We're like trying to beat the crowds.
Yeah, it's like you have to.
Oh, Thunder. You gotta write Thunder.
You gotta write Thunder before
Showdown.
the show's done.
Yeah, you got the show dump or the parade dump. You're just like,
And now that my wife has come, now she's like, no, every time it's like her show. Fantastic
oh
is
man,
her
I
show.
remember we went that one time and she was like, we gotta get a better spot, and it's all like, this is it.
Yeah, and when they introduced the fast passes for it,
It's like
Mhm.
you're not gonna get any better.
you get what you get.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's no waiting around.
Unless you do like the
Dining package. Dining package, you get a better
Which
seating.
I did it for California and I loved it and I would do it again.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it's the waiting for that's probably the biggest amount. Any okay, so we're in Frontierland. Anything else in Frontierland? I remember the wagon that sold McDonald's fries and the smell
Yes.
of the fries.
The fries, though.
Food we never get.
No.
We never got
Never
those fries.
got the
But
fries.
man, did you want McDonald's more than ever when you would see that the Westward Ho wagon that sold McDonald's French
And for
fries.
those who don't know where it was right across from like the entrance or a little bit
It was the
beyond
exit.
entrance, the exit.
So like
of
as you
Thunder Mountain.
exited Big Thunder Mountain, it was literally like right in front of you.
Mhm.
That's where it was, and so we saw that wagon often.
Yeah, that's Mom's favorite ride next to Splash. I don't know, Splash and Thunder was always like, I think she likes Splash.
I think for a while it was Big Thunder, but then as she got older, it transitioned to Splash.
And I think it's because of the photos.
Yeah.
She likes the
I love the walkway behind Big Thunder.
yes.
Yes.
Like,
Actually, I
I-
have something with Thunder real quick.
Okay, go for it.
I loved seeing the pennies in the water in the queue.
yeah.
And seeing accumulated, seeing the
Oh.
copper water. Just that. Like, it brings happiness. You know, like those times as a little kid, you throw like a little coin in there, but I just like seeing the accumulation. of
Yeah.
coins. And I kind of have that with Snow White too, and like the early part
Yes.
of the queue.
Yes.
But yes, the walkway. Let's go to the walkway. It is.
Yeah, there's like this special, like, honestly, like, it was a quiet walkway. Like, nobody walked.
Yeah,
back
before
there.
Galaxy Edge.
Before Galaxy's Edge, yeah. But, like, before, yeah, there was just this quiet walkway from Frontierland to Fantasyland.
It was like it's a good transition.
It
of, like you go
was.
from like early America to like I'm going into a different bubble.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
I
very
do like
relaxing.
I don't know what it is, but I know I'm in the walkway and I'm getting excited to go to Fantasyland because I can smell the cigarette smell, and it's kind of a
Because
cue
there's
of
a
like
smoking.
there's
There
a
was
smoking
there was a
area.
smoke area.
and I'm
right
like,
there,
and
yeah.
you're always like, oh, the smoke is making the worst. But deep down, I'm like, this is nice. I'm going to Fantasyland. So I smell cigarette smoke, and I'm like, I'm going to Fantasyland.
Well, now that's gone. No
You
more
like it rid of that?
smoking. No more
Oh,
smoking.
that's right, no
We're
more smoking.
smoking.
You gotta get the patch.
So, but I think they've done a good job of plussing that walkway with the addition of Galaxy's Edge. They've
Yeah.
kind of added to it to make it more themed. Because
Yes.
before, like, especially at night, it was like this dark path.
It was the one place you thought, like, if I'm gonna get mugged,
That would have been it.
that was it.
Yep, that would have been the spot.
You're a little bit more alert.
Yeah.
There's like, is Wild Bill
You're
gonna
holding
jump
your
out?
bag.
It's just like, Buffalo gonna come out and like, I'm gonna get stampeded?
That 5-year-old's eye in my backpack.
There's a little pond as you're walking towards Fantasyland. There's a pond on your left where there's a tunnel where the old mine
Yes.
train through Nature's Wonderland used to travel, and this is where the bear animatronics were. Well, there's actually still a working animatronic, quote unquote.
When they can get to the chance to maintain it.
Right. So there was a jumping fish animatronic. Well,
Oh.
the fish is gone, but the mechanical thing that makes the fish go, you can still see it occasionally. So you'll just see this movement in this water just go, just go up and
know
over.
about that.
Yeah. And it's still there. Everyone was worried that was going to go away when they were remodeling that whole area for Galaxy's Edge. But no, it's still there.
That's good. Oh, man. Those Disneyland fans, just you can't touch anything
No.
because there's so many memories. To the little things, to a fish jumping a pond is so
Not even a
critical.
fish. The mechanical arm that moved the fish.
Yes, it's still a part of it. Okay, so we're in Fantasyland now. You know, what's exciting?
Honestly, And I don't understand why this isn't as big of a thing for older people or teenagers or adults. And that's just all of the dark rides.
Mm-hmm.
Because I go with so many people that go, I've never been on Mr. Toad's before.
What?
And it's like, we go Mr. Toad's every time. Or I've never been on Pinocchio before. And it's like, what? Like, how come you don't do these things? And so, like, although I don't feel like it should be this nostalgic thing, it totally is for me because, like,
you have to complete Fantasyland.
See,
Besides, like, Casey Jr. and the storybook, Teller book. Right, that's the one, like, 2 I could forget about, but everything else I have to ride.
It's like Fantasyland at night, I love.
Yeah, early morning is nice, but nighttime Fantasyland with the lights and the glow.
I would
It's
say
everything.
this Storybook Canal at night is the best.
I agree.
Because it's nice and cool, the sun's not beating on you, and you go through the sparkling archway for the whole new world sequence as you're doing the Aladdin scene. Like, that's really nice, and it's super relaxing.
I do have a good fond memory of, like, the guy who's telling the stories, and you see the giant ducks next to the buildings, and he goes, you know what those ducks are? They're Mighty Ducks. And I was the biggest Mighty Ducks fan. And as a 9-year-old, I was like, that's the best joke I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
And so that is stuck with me whenever I see a duck on that ride, go like, ooh, it's a Mighty Duck. And now with the show Mighty Duck, I can tell my kid.
Right? Oh, yeah.
So, fun memory.
Teacups.
Teacups.
That's like a must for me. Riding the teacups, having the lights, like the lanterns above it,
Yes.
and like the music is just, I'm cozying up.
It is
to that thought.
It is a nice, warm, like, memory.
Yes.
Just riding that ride. I'm not much of a spinning ride, but that ride at night, it just adds to, like, it's a boost. And like, okay, I'm at Disneyland at night, and here we are. We're doing this.
So I've got one that is nostalgic for me personally, is the Sleeping Beauty walkthrough within the castle.
Okay.
Okay, because, and this was early 90s, so this is before 9/11, before they closed it. I remember me personally doing that for the first time. I discovered it on my own. It wasn't one of those things like, okay, we're going to do this. It was
really
like,
wasn't a
I was
regular thing
on
for
my
us.
own, and I was all like, you could go in the castle? And I remember going up to my dad's, Dad, you can walk through the castle! And I was so excited. And so even to this day, like, I always have to walk through the castle.
Yes.
Even though my dad had been through that probably 500 million times, but...
Yeah, I can see that. I can see how that could be really special. There's the wishing well next to the castle.
Yes.
Yes.
I love doing, like, I'm wishing for
Right.
the one I love. And then, like, my wife will sing that, and I'm like, today.
Yes.
I can't help but, like,
Right.
sing along to
Yeah.
that scene.
And it's definitely one of those, especially when there's not characters around, it's definitely one of the more quiet areas of the park.
Yes. Yeah, I just like the wishing well for that. Just being my wife, like, singing the song there. I liked the store where you could see your, like, family crest and stuff. I was like looking
you
up.
loved that store.
I love that
I
store.
miss that store.
It was, I think it was non-Disney merchandise.
It was.
And it was kind of special.
It's where you can buy, like,
Your family
swords.
crest and swords and, like, I actually bought, like, a family crest there, and I still
Yep.
have. It was right when I was in high school. I paid like $250 for it, and I think that was. I still think it's like one of my favorite, like,
Purchases.
souvenirs.
Yeah.
I think it's hanging on my wall in my apartment right now. So yeah, it's really. Yeah, I've got fond memories of going in there, and it's glowing. It's lighting.
Now I think it's a Christmas shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Bummer. All right, so we are. We go to Toontown.
Yeah, let's go to Toontown real quick.
Let's skip the theater. I don't care about that. I have no memories there, and don't.
I have, there's a video memory of you singing, hello, my name is Joe.
Oh yeah.
I worked in a button factory.
That's true.
That's
I
always
was
an
there.
enchanting
Yeah.
video.
moving past that. Because it's embarrassing.
Hello.
Yeah. Toontown, it's a nighttime place for me.
Absolutely.
I hate going there during the day.
Yeah.
Well, it's nighttime. Most of the kids have come and gone.
Yeah.
So
They've reached their witching hour.
everything's a walk-on, pretty much. The coaster,
William, we
Roger
always
Rabbit.
would meet Mickey at night.
Yes, we'd go in, and I think that's kind of special. Is the one character when we were all as a family is to go see Mickey in his house at night, and I like that memory and like the feeling of like we go through the house, and I don't really care about the house. It was more about meeting Mickey as a family, and so that was kind of special.
And he had unique costumes.
Yes, like
Yes.
the bandstand one.
Yeah,
That
the
was-
bandstand. Yeah, I've seen him.
Sorcerer.
Sorcerer. I've seen Steamboat Willie Mickey.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool place, and a character being greets, that's a good one. And then we got Gadget's roller coaster.
Yeah.
That was a must for a family to go ride at night.
Yes. And then the jail bars.
Yes, got to go there and hit the different
No, it's the electric door.
the electric door. Oh yes, and
Oh.
Yeah, you open the door and it makes the electrocution noise, and you're like,
That is fun about Toontown. It's interactive. I don't know if it is interactive anymore, but it was interactive growing
Yeah.
up. Kind of like how the queues are.
When I was little, the Goofy Jump House. Loved that thing.
Yes. I don't know why it's not around.
I
anymore.
remember when you jumped on the lamp and made it tip, it would light up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you didn't want to hold it too long because then you were afraid it was going to burn a hole in the material. You could bounce. Oh man, a lot of good memories there. Walking, I've got good memories of as we're leaving Toontown, Small World at Christmas time.
Yes.
Just standing there.
It's just beautiful.
It's just that's a good Christmas memory.
Hearing the children sing, "'Tis the season to..." Like, nothing gets you more in the Christmas spirit than that.
Yeah, especially
Absolutely.
It's cooler.
Yes.
Like in the winter time, so you're bundled
and
up.
it's lit differently. It's lit
Yeah.
in different colors, and I love it.
It's really good. Matterhorn, as we're there, as we're walking towards Tomorrowland, what do we got?
Waiting in that line for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the rope queue outside of it.
because it would go all the way around.
It would go all the way around, but when it got to one point of the mountain, you're like, oh, it's only 40 minutes. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
You know, it's one thing consistent about the Matterhorn is that you knew how much longer you had.
Yeah.
There was no mystery like, 20 minutes here. Okay, we got 10 minutes here.
Yes.
And you're hoping you're party 2, and they're like, party 2, and you're like, right here.
Right.
Yeah. So you get that. I love hearing the roar.
Oh, yeah.
The roar, and then the ah! Yeah, that's for me. The roar on that ride is
To me,
iconic.
it's the
Is it the end of the ride?
it's the end of the
I
ride.
knew you were gonna say it.
It's the reason why I put it at the end of our podcast every episode, because it is so nostalgic for me.
Mm-hmm.
You see, remain seated, please. Permaneces sentados, por favor. Like it's
the only Spanish you know.
That's that and the safety cue for Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
Por favor.
The only thing I ever learned in Spanish was like entrada aquí, entrada aquí.
So, yeah, and it's iconic for a reason, and even made its way to the 50th anniversary fireworks show. So
It's true. It is like you're sitting there, you're done with the ride, you got the high of like the adrenaline, and then you hear that, and it just cues it all.
Mm-hmm.
I always get a churro right there at night,
Yes.
across from Matterhorn. That's my place.
Mm-hmm.
Or a pretzel. All right, we're going towards Tomorrowland. What do we got?
well,
You got something before?
kind of. So it's kind of in that area. So it's that little walkway where the old motorboat ride
Yeah.
was.
So that's just north. So it's in between Small World and Matterhorn.
Yes.
That corridor.
So like, there's this little patio that you can go and sit out. It's very relaxing. See the ducks. That used to be
a smoke zone.
Yeah, it used to be where smoking zone was for a while, till a lot of people complained because it was a very nice spot in the park to like sit on a bench and another place to eat your lunch or
Yeah.
something like that, to get away from the crowd. So it was a very nice little quiet area that overlooks some of the water, and you can people watch. So that's something that's a little nostalgic for me.
I think it's always been nice, like in that area.
It's always great to find places where it's just quiet.
It's your spot. Everyone's got a secret spot. Like this is where I go lunch.
Yeah.
Or like this is your rally point. Someone gets lost. You're like, we meet here at this spot.
So I love the pathway where you're next to the Matterhorn. You've got the submarine ride and the monorail. That whole like picturesque like walkway area. I just love it.
It does overlook a large swath of. It's kind of like as you're leaving Adventureland and you see Rivers of America and Splash. It does have that kind of feel as you enter in right there.
What's cool about it is that the water is like clear.
Yes.
That's the cool thing about that little pond or little lake is that the water is clear. And so like it's a different feel in that area than it is for Rivers of America area, where that water is a little brown, which is dyed. It's not brown because of what's in the water. It's dyed.
Yeah. There's dead people in
There's
the water.
dead people, yes.
There's no dead people in that water.
But in Pirates, it's a whole different story. With the Nemo ride or the submarine ride growing up, I always, like, being on the ride, I always get sleepy.
Yes.
That's the one ride where I'm just like, I want to fall asleep afterwards.
Don't do that in the middle of your day. Either do that first thing in the morning or right before you go into bed.
It's like taking a 10-minute nap and it wasn't satisfying enough.
Right.
And you're just like, you got that afternoon poison feel like, oh,
it's the
I'm paralyzed.
It's the worst feeling.
You're like, I need a Coca-Cola. I need something sugary to get me going.
Even when we did it for the Gumball Rally, that was like our second or third ride.
I was sleepy.
And like, I was tired. After the park, it was only like 10 o'clock in the morning and I was like, oh.
If you want to get your kids tired, maybe that would be the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I always have memories of like, I hope no one farts in front of me. I'm like, that's someone like, they just don't want it. Okay, so we're there. Do we have anything with interventions or like the little like stage area?
I love the little shows that they would put on when it was interventions.
Yeah.
So like when you were entering it, they would have
They had like a
little
little
shows.
game show.
They had game shows. They had it was different every time you went in.
Yeah.
You did something different, and that was always cool.
Yeah,
It's
because
true.
they would pull like little kids. I remember being one of the little kids on one of the game show, and I loved it.
Oh. Yeah. I don't have any, no, I don't know, nothing in that area really. I kind of skipped over Autopia. As an adult, you kind of want to, but as a kid, it's everything. That noise, that
Oh,
like,
the smell of the gas.
Gas is a huge
No
one.
offense, Andy. Andy, who gave us the idea for the episode, talked about how that was his nostalgia.
It is a nostalgia, but you hear
I know a lot
and
of
it gets
people that
excited
love
for
that.
kids. But yeah, it triggers the like. It's not pleasant now as an adult, but as a kid, it was everything.
Oh, sure.
Just that, like, if I heard that now, I would be excited a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to ride the ride, but then like, I'm in Tomorrowland, like, I'm in Disneyland. That sound I associate.
Oh, yeah.
with
It's
it.
definitely a sound I would associate with Disney, for sure.
It's not, I've never heard that sound anywhere else. And,
Yeah.
And the smell. It's very distinct, the smell of the future of burning gas. No.
Right.
So, okay, we're going to go to, what do we want to do? Do we want to do Buzz or Space Mountain?
Space.
Space Mountain.
We're right there. Let's do Space.
Space Mountain.
First thing in the morning, right?
First thing in the morning and then at night, because we have saved up those fast passes.
Yes.
Not anymore, but yeah.
Oh, when you could save up fast passes. Oh,
Kind of bank them.
I
a
don't
bit.
know. The paper fast passes? That's memories.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
going to the machine and sticking your
That
ticket
was
in,
always an exciting thing.
and then discovering that there's a button in the back, and you'd push it, and it would shoot
you
out.
would hope that they left it unlocked, so you just like...
Oh, yeah. When we first discovered that, like, when they first started doing Fast Pass, I was like, what's this button here? And I was like, bloop! And I was like, oh, no, this is great. When they didn't have to accompany it, and I popped out a couple, and I was like, this is great. We got extra Fast Passes. That was kind of cool. And then when you work at attractions, they're like, yeah, there's a special key. and like you push the button, but most of the time we just left the key in there because we didn't want somebody walking off with it when they transition like positions, and so like there was always that button to push. And, yeah, I got memories of the Fast Pass, but it was exciting. Like, what time do we have? Oh, we got this time.
The paper Fast Passes.
Well, and you also had the ability to get or give extra Fast Passes to another guest.
Oh yeah, especially if you were like gonna leave for the day and you're like, oh here, do you want these Fast Passes? And you're like,
that is something that's lost. Is like, here, let me, as a guest, create a magical moment for someone, and you're like, oh thanks, and it was that kind of like.
I mean, everyone did it. It was like, you would get it, and then you would give it on.
You're like, hey, I'm not going to make it. You guys want Fast Pass? It was always Space Mountain. Space Mountain is like the one that you want to give to someone.
Who's that? Or in California Adventure was Soarin'.
Oh, yeah.
Soarin', yeah, that was the one that you'd want to get it. I have a memory of... we'll stay in Space Mountain. I love just that entering into the loading area of Space Mountain. That's probably like, I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun. This is the fun ride.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, the first thing, you look down and you see the ride exiting and you see the happy faces. You see the people like, yeah, it was awesome. Oh, man, this is great.
Yeah. Except for the time when we rode it 5 times in a row, we were like,
no more. Oh, we missed the... We
overshot you.
We overshot you. You ready to go again? I'm like, okay, let's go again.
Yeah, that was brutal.
That was rough.
But, and just that high of like walking the corridor and then you go look at your picture and you're like, this is the best. Again, pictures is another like for us. It's like, let's look at them and enjoy. And they kind of laugh at like, I'm not buying a print, you ridiculous Kodak. Now gone.
Right.
Yeah, exiting that. Anything in the Captain EO theater? I don't really have anything.
No.
I just never liked waiting in the queue area of the show.
Yeah, I mean, the theater was okay. I was actually pleasantly surprised when they had the Star Wars show in there. I was like, oh, actually, it wasn't too bad. I would probably say the one thing I hate was that it was so cold in there.
It was colder in there.
They would blow air at you, and it was not just regular air. It was cold air. And so, like, it was always freezing in there. And I was always like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that. Like, I don't remember the cold air on that one.
I remember. Did you guys do anything in the arcade, the Starcade?
Yeah, I remember walking through the Starcade.
I remember walking through, but I
remember getting a crowd while I was doing Dance Dance Revolution.
I knew this is a Dance Dance Revolution.
Oh yeah, I got a crowd when I was doing Dance Dance Revolution. I'm doing one of those crazy fast Japanese songs, and everyone's like, "Whoa, look at him go!" And I'm like, I practiced at home. I practiced this one at home just so I could do this. Oh, yeah.
That's so funny.
That's great.
What are your memories there? You just walking through?
Just walking through and...
I remember seeing this X-Wing that was floating at the very end.
Just remember walking through it, and then didn't it connect to the other gift shop?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It connected to
the Star Tours.
Well, what was that one called? Maybe that...
That's okay.
I forgot what the name of the shop is, because I don't know.
But as we're over there, we're talking about Star Tours. The Star Tours shop is most memorable for me.
Oh, yeah.
I spent a lot of time in that gift shop, seeing the Yoda, the $10,000 Yoda.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, that would be awesome. I want a $10,000 Yoda. This is early 2000s.
Yes.
And just to see, like, a real Yoda, like, just...
And they even had the, you put your face in the movie poster thing.
Yeah.
Or they put your face in a Star Wars movie poster.
I forgot about that.
They were like, that'd be cool. Like, our parents were like,
no, we're not dropping $40 on that. No, I don't think so. We would look at all the cool toys that our friend Austin would love to add to his collection. If you want to know more about Austin's Star Wars collection, listen to our last episode about collections.
Yeah, I loved going to that. Big Star Wars fans, looking at the action figures, and then different like helmets and
now
different
you
guns
can
and
build
stuff.
your own
lightsaber
as well as droid.
Oh,
you can build your own R2 unit.
Little action figures. Yeah, I would have loved that as like
This
like
little
a
kid.
preteen.
Yeah.
I would have loved that because I loved collecting all those action figures.
Oh yeah.
Well, like, and in the launch parade, if you had a meet and greet with the Ewoks, if you traded them with something, they would give you a part of a droid.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. That was at Disney World. I mean, I'm pretty sure they do it at Disneyland. Again, they're a rare meet and greet.
Yeah, it was a while.
I was like, Ewoks, that's like special event stuff. So.
Yeah, it's when you get the really short mini.
I think they're
That's the play that one.
Ewoks. Like the cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small Chewbacca's.
Yeah. No, not small Chewbacca's. The other small one.
Jawas.
Jawas, that's it.
Oh, really? Well, that makes sense that a Jawa would
Would
like
have the
trade
toys.
smart.
Yes, Jawas, I misspoke.
Maybe if you traded like a turkey leg, they'd give you a human a stormtrooper leg. You know that they. So speaking of food, churro. I'd always get the churro in between Buzz Lightyear and Star Tours.
It's a good popcorn location.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get that quick little like Tomorrowland snack before you hit the hub.
As we get closer towards it, I do want to mention Tomorrowland is best at night.
Yes.
The lights and everything. It's not just a concrete jungle. It's like neon lights. The music's amazing. They got music from The Rocketeer.
Oh, I love the Rocketeer.
Yeah, and so
James Horner. He's the musician. He's done so many movies.
right.
But yeah, that one does have a magical flight airiness to it.
So, yeah, that's definitely just walking down Tomorrowland at night. It's definitely a very magical thing for me.
It has to be
Having the like all the spacey sounds and all that. Seeing the Mickey,
The space
neon
Mickey. Yeah.
float around. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's great.
As much as I rag on Tomorrowland is the most magical at night.
At night.
And I get
And
that.
when they
I feel
had-
good when I'm there at night.
And when they used to have like performers or like rock bands or
on a Friday.
on the Friday night.
Or Saturday.
Yeah.
The covers band. I like that.
Oh, those are great.
I'm getting scared that I'm going to hear like 2000s covered band. They're playing like Blink 182 and Sum 41. I'm going to be like, nope, I've reached it. I know there's gray in my beard, but man, I've reached the old man age.
Right. Yep.
All right, anything left with Tomorrowland?
I want to talk about Ariel's grotto that used to be there. Loved it. I loved it as a girl. Like, a little girl, just like seeing King Triton like shoot water.
Which you can still see that King Triton statue today. It's on top of the Little Mermaid attraction at California Adventure.
Oh,
They just moved it.
how resourceful of them.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was fun to see, Ariel as a mermaid instead of seeing her just as a princess dressed. You got to take a picture of her as a mermaid.
And Finn.
Yeah.
I got a picture with me and one of my best friends with Ariel. It was kind of fun.
Oh.
Even signed his little. He got a kids meal. It came with a little plastic box, and he says, to my prince. It's cute.
All right, so we're gonna finish up the night. What nostalgia is there for our family? Like, where do we go to finish off the
Riding
night?
the carousel at night.
Yeah, we go back to Fantasyland, and we kind of finish the night there. It's probably the most magical spot.
We stay there until the cast members kind of ease our way out.
Yeah, we see them clear Fantasyland and finish off.
And it's cool to walk, just see Fantasyland empty.
Oh, it's the best.
It's like a very magical thing.
I feel special in that aspect. Just waiting. I know you're antsy to leave and you're tired, but just being there, it's the best for me. Like, that's one thing I really appreciate that Father Yodeler has instilled in us. Just like, just be patient and then just slowly
Enjoy
make
the
your way out,
scenery,
because you don't get this any other time of the park. Even if you're the first person in Fantasyland, it always takes one person right behind you going like, Peter Pan!
Right.
But I love riding the carousel at night. The glow of the lights, the music, and riding it.
It's a great way to end your day.
Yeah. The simplicity of it. It all started there. and it's, as we mentioned, it's one of our favorite places to finish off, and it's very magical. I didn't mention the Sword in the Stone. I love just going up there, just grabbing, giving a little tug, like, maybe this is the chance. No, no.
I missed the old Sword in the Stone show.
It was a great show.
And then seeing the evil queen pop her head out at certain times in the window, like, I always like catching that. That was always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, forgot Mr. Toad. I love the heat as when you go into hell.
Yes.
That I was like, oh, it's warm. Ooh.
Yeah, especially when you go in the winter time, you're like, oh, it's nice and warm.
It's warm here.
There's actually a part in Alice in Wonderland's ride, her dark ride, that goes over that scene, so you can feel some of the heat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like,
cool.
You got to pay attention next time you ride Alice in Wonderland. If you notice one room get a little bit warmer, it's because you're over hell.
Because you're in hell.
No, you're over.
You're over hell.
Oh, okay. It's heaven.
That's where Wonderland is, just above hell.
Awesome. All right, so we're finishing off Fantasyland, walking through the castle, and then looking over the glow of Main Street. You know, and just...
I love the twinkling lights in the trees.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's just like, it's just a little bit of like pixie dust, you know, just a little bit of magic. Even so much for like the little, the little statuettes that they made of Main Street or the hub or whatever. They added the twinkling lights.
Oh yes,
the
for
the hub.
Yeah.
The hub.
What was the name of the artist?
I don't remember.
Where they made the miniatures of
Main Street, the castle,
and some attractions. Yeah, that's. Definitely the twinkling adds to the atmosphere, and it does add to the magic of being somewhere special. As you go down Main Street, as you're finishing off your day, you're hearing classic music that you start off with, and then just seeing the chaos of people running back and forth. We make the last stops at the Emporium to pick up the magnets or the little last thing I had to get before I leave.
Yes.
You know. Is there, as you're leaving, is there any kind of other nostalgia that you have?
Yes.
Going to the magic shop.
The magic shop for you?
Yeah, because Father Yodeler would always bring us into the magic shop at night on the way out.
Because it was next to the music shop.
That's why I thought, I was like, it's only for the music shop. Hey, stay here. I gotta get my music.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got to grab my album that they came out with this year. Yeah, remember that quite a bit. For me, I've mentioned this before on our Disneyland Secrets episode.
This is a good way to end it. Yeah, this will be the last nostalgia.
Okay.
I think this is a good
Okay,
way.
it's all
Finish us off.
Pressure's on me.
Finish us off.
Ready for me to cry? So this is something, as I said, I've mentioned this before in a prior episode. This is the way I kind of end my day when I go to Disneyland is I take a look over to, I kind of stand in Town Square facing the castle, but also in Town Square, so like I'm back, I can see Walt's apartment, which is right above the firehouse. And you see the lantern, and for those who do not know, they lit that Walt Disney would always light that lantern to signify, to tell the guests as well as the cast members know that he was in the park that day. Well, when he died, they decided to always keep it on as if his spirit is always at Disneyland. And so I always kind of pay my respects to Walt and his vision and what he gave the world. I thank him for the memories that I've created and the joy for my next visit. And so I usually get emotional. I'm getting a little emotional now, but that's kind of how I always make sure I end my day by giving thanks to Walt.
I think it's a great way to end this podcast of nostalgia because there's such beauty and all the magic that was given to us with all these memories of being in the park with the simplest of lights, with the smell of chemicals and water and the sounds of a motor. And it's the littlest things that just trigger the happiness and the joy that this park and the great vision of Walt sharing it with us. And that will end our podcast of nostalgia. We've completed our ride on Japheth's nostalgia train. we'll be back on again. I love this train ride.
Shout out to Andy. Thanks
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
idea.
Thanks for the idea. I heard what he said and I was like, oh, this is great. We're just going to talk about all the fun, beautiful, like, things that bring us joy. Like, we're going to leave this podcast going, I feel so good.
Right.
Yeah.
I have such good memories.
I didn't have to prep for this episode at all.
No, it's just like, oh, we're just going to talk about things that make us happy in there. And so appreciate you guys sticking with us in this longer podcast, but it's fun. And I hope as we talked about these things, these nostalgia things, that you guys are thinking about the fond memories of being in the park. It's great. It's beautiful. And thank you for listening.
Yeah. Let us know what are your favorite memories or nostalgia that you have in the Disney parks, either at Disneyland, Disney World, or
Wherever.
Yeah, even if it's in the movie theater watching a Disney movie, that is.
Or it's watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Watching YouTube videos.
let us know. Follow us on Instagram. We're at Matterhorn Yodelers. And we have a
At Gmail.
Yep. Oh, well, that's...
I think I said email. Sorry.
Yeah. So, and then we got our email, which is matterhornyoders@gmail.com. You can reach out to us. You can also follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and
Follow us on Instagram.
follow us on Instagram. And then if you're on our Anchor page, you can also send us a voice message.
Please send us creepy ones so we can laugh.
Yes. It'll be fun.
That concludes our podcast today, our episode. Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember...
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.